Friend, he is the one who created it. He's the voice, the heartbeat, and the spirit of The Lion King, an internationally renowned composer, performer, and Grammy Award-winning producer. It's none other than Mr. Lebo M. Ow, ow, ow.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah,
so
many people. I make sure that they're all on the line at the same time so that we get it right in time. Right. Yes, thank you so much for being here.
Very excited to be here. Congratulations. Happy second year.
Woohoo!
See, I've done my research.
Yeah.
Am I good? Yeah.
The crowd comes back. Five loved me so much. They said that the chaos is good.
Beautiful.
Your story is possibly one of my favorite success stories. And for those who are listening who don't know, you were homeless, washing cars, working at McDonald's, and then you become an intern at Hilton Studios.
Yeah, Hilton Rosenthal Studio. Yeah.
That's right.
That's years later, though.
Because you still went to school and then...
I was 16 when I left home.
Yes.
I was 16 and went to high school in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
And in 1983, I moved to Los Angeles to become a star.
To become a star, but that dream.
I landed and 2 hours later, I was in the streets. I was in the streets for 2.5 years.
And that wasn't, I'm sure, like easy being so young in a foreign country trying to work your way up. But then at the reason why I'm bringing up Hilton Studios is because it's there where you meet Hans.
Yeah.
And Hilton says, give this kid a chance, which is you, right?
Yeah.
And then he does, and you guys then go on to do Power of One together. Have you ever felt, though, indebted or like you owe Hilton something for, just saying, hey, just give this kid a chance? Because he really did give you an opportunity for you to showcase the skills that you have been working on all those years, Let
me give you the backstory so you understand, because that's a very important question you just asked. I was a kid when at home in Soweto. I was the youngest in the street band. And my guitar player that time was Solili Dwaba. Years later, I see Soli on stage as Johnny Clegg's bass player. That's how I meet Johnny Clegg and I meet Hilton, and we all become this semi-exile family because I'm the only one that's really exiled and from the township. And I end up being an intern and I make coffee at Hilton Studio. I'm the guy that runs around while I'm also a taxi driver. Hilton, who's Johnny Clegg's producer, engineer, is also Bobby Summerfield, a South African. So I'll do demos at night and Bobby would play my demos for Hilton. So when Hans came looking for Johnny for this new project, that's when basically Hilton said, you should try this kid. The next day I was at Hans' studio and I ended up co-writing, co-producing and performing the soundtrack of Power One.
Sure. So because of your relationship and how you guys work so closely, it's always been like you thankful, but it's like that moment that just got you in the door when Hans gave you that opportunity.
I don't know if I want to put it that way. Of course, I'm very grateful for my journey, but I think it's complementary.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I look at and reflect on those moments as a lot more being about ready. Than because if I didn't deliver, I could have gone to Hans' studio and just been a meet this kid. So my being ready and me over delivering the Power of One soundtrack and giving it an identity with myself and Hans. Must remember Hans at that time had just done about 4 or 5 movies, like under 20 movies. It was not the greatest, biggest thing in the world right now. So we both know and believe that we were complementary.
Got it.
And the work created this powerful friendship and this powerful brotherhood. So I don't want to sound like I'm not grateful for the opportunity. I'm actually a lot more grateful for my journey that got me ready for any opportunity.
Because when the opportunity came, there was preparation done that got you ready for that position. And also, I really do appreciate how your work continues to give back to people, because before, when Lion King auditions were put out, it wasn't put out to the entire South Africa. It was always just agencies doing that. And do you have like a favorite story of somebody who came to those open auditions? and their life changed?
Well, a lot of I thank you for clarifying that, because I thought you were going somewhere else I don't want to go to. So I had to spend 2.5 years while we're preparing the production with the union, with the director, and convince them that you can't open The Lion King on Broadway without South Africans in order to basically translate the powerful emotional energy from the movie to the Broadway production. Fortunately, I had actually done Sarafina tour in America a couple of years later, so I was a cast member. So I knew the first people hired actually for The Lion King are South Africans that I hired who were remaining in America from Sarafina. And that allowed me to create a formula that no one had. So by the time I conducted the first Lion King auditions in South Africa, we had a formula. We thought we had a formula, actually, come to think of it. Agencies would bring their clients things, and I really got bored with it because I was getting industry people, and I was dealing with a lot of, because no one really knew, everybody knew how successful the movie was. Nobody had a sense of what we were building for the Broadway production.
Yeah.
And I think there was that thing, cartoons, do you want to be on cartoons on stage? And it was very difficult to explain what Broadway is, to people, candidates that were coming. So one had to deal with that mindset, a wrong mindset, and a horrible attitude from some of the people that were brought in. So fortunately, that allowed me to shut it down. And I said, let's do an open audition. Yeah. Anybody can come
Get
in.
Get raw homegrown talent.
No, just anybody.
Yeah.
Grandma, 40, whatever.
Okay.
80. And fortunately, that decision allowed us to uncover what we didn't expect. Some of the best talent and people that we hired had never worked for anybody. Because people just walked in, and we were able to create a formula that is still the only formula used to audition for The Lion King around the world. It's not based on professionals. It's not based on how famous you are, what movie you come from. It was based on a specific raw talent that you bring in that complements the project.
Yeah, and I love that you were able to do that for so many people, because I know that lots of people's lives were changed from that moment. So let's go back to when your career's kicking off. You spoke once about how you came in and your career's taking off. You're making all this money, but then the money goes. What was the biggest purchase or the main reasons for all your money going so quickly?
When I got my first check from Power of One, I think my first decent check was from Power of One, about maybe at that time $20,000-$30,000.
Sure.
And to me, that was $300 million billion.
Yeah, never seen that many zeros in your account.
Yeah, there's a lot of zeros, and I was not aware that there's this thing called it's gonna finish.
Because you think it's infinity, it's going to go on,
No, which means before that, I only knew what it's like to have $10. I only knew what it's like to have, at the most, $200. Because life before, I did the Oscars before Power of One. I had done 1 or 2 projects, but the Power of One was the project that really established me in the film composing thing. The point being, even now, when it went from $30,000 and the second or the third royalty check was $80,000 or $100,000, $200,000, I was on top of the world. So being an LA kid at that time, I'm like the most global township kid. Born and raised in Soweto, grew up in Washington, D.C., ghetto Anacostia, lived in the streets in Los Angeles, grew up in South Central LA. I'm pretty much your proper ghetto kid.
Yeah.
When the money comes in, and I fly to San Francisco, party in New York, and then the money was gone.
Sure, man.
So first lesson was that, but it was not the first and the last. It took a long time, and still now I'm still learning about money.
What has been your greatest lesson when it comes to money that you've learned?
I'm still in the process of learning. The most important is, what is this thing called saving? What is this thing called investing? What is this thing called buy people out instead of being someone that owns your stuff? Buy them out. So save. invest, and buy people out, and you own yourself.
Okay, on the topic of that, because you own 50% of the Circle of Life, and I know that you...
I cannot confirm or deny that.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, but the point is that I want to make is that obviously you deserve to own more of it. So knowing what you know now, would you have taken 100% if that was a possibility, or a higher percentage? Would you have gone higher?
At that time, it was never about what I'm taking, what I'm not taking. It was more about what are the negotiations and who has the upper hand in the negotiations. That is not really related to who does the best in the project, or who brings the best in the project. And that one learns over the years that ultimately who your lawyer is and who's your agent and who represents you, which is probably the most expensive part of the business. The better the person, the more expensive they are. So the learning, it is over 15, 20 years of learning that part of the business, where you realize that I learned something from Quincy Jones many years ago. Your talent is number 5 in the most important things that you need to know. In fact, your talent means nothing.
Sure, and we don't know that. Like, just being up and coming, you just rely on your talent to take you to where you want to be.
No,
so
the talent can maybe help knock at the door, but it will not sustain you.
I wanted to talk about your mom, who was your pillar, and you described your mom as the greatest inspiration, highlighting how her wisdom and resilience almost guided you through every note that you...
Not almost, just about has been from day one.
That's incredible. What would you say is the greatest lesson she's taught you as a parent?
The greatest lesson probably for my mom, more than any human being alive, is I must always be who I want to be and remain authentic.
And how important has authenticity been in this journey that you've been on? Because it's so easy to get lost in the crowd and people watching what you're doing, having an opinion of it. How do you not get lost in those voices?
It's honestly the cornerstone of my entire career, if not my entire life. I think all those doors and any other doors that come into my way is because of the authentic South African I am first, then the authentic South African artist I am first. So I'm very well aware that the authenticity is very central in my career and the person I am.
I'm really interested to know, though, when you're going through things, are you somebody who deals with it by yourself? Do you go to therapy to like, don't laugh. Why are you laughing?
I'm not laughing. I'm laughing with you.
I'm just really intrigued to know how you handle hard situations or when you like trying to heal from something.
I grew up in exile.
Okay.
One thing that gives most of us, not all of us, strength is I learned very early how to deal with tragedy because when I left South Africa at age 16, I had no intentions of leaving. I learned a week or 2, if not 3 later, that I'm in exile, I can't go home. And I think the greatest lesson from that part of my journey is how to deal with pain, how to deal with tragedy, because we always knew that whoever we left behind at that time, remember I was born into the apartheid system, so I knew nothing else except the township. In fact, I learned of Sentino, these really fancy things when I came back in South Africa. The number one lesson that kept us strong, that I think is still the center of who I am and when I'm faced with whether business or personal tragedy is, there are people that had much more worse than us. And these are the people, the family left behind and the community and the country at large at that time. So I think when one is faced with tragedy, whether in business or personal life, that has become a mechanism in which one deals with those type of things, especially when you know that 30 years is not a long time. My understanding of who I am and my understanding of my country and my history is not necessarily the same as someone who's not gone through exile. Yeah.
You have an exciting show coming up next week in Cape Town, the 18th of April. And Mikasa's going to be there. They're supporting as well as the Nglovi Youth Choir. So many. There's over 300 professionals.
Truckisbeck Boys Choir.
Yes.
My daughter Refi launching Kosnati Shabalala is just quite an exciting moment in my life.
What's one thing you are looking forward to most when you are live in concerts?
Well, I look forward to the first note of the show and the last note of the show.
Because then you know that after that it's done.
This started as a celebration of my 60th birthday, but we've been conceptualizing this concert a little over 10 years now, because I've been Hans Zimmer's special guest on his tour around the world for the last 10 years. Actually, we're entering the 11th year this year. And I always joke around, and I think I'm no longer joking, that I've been auditioning and preparing for my concert through Hans's tour, which is like the biggest tour in the world, sold out arenas around the world. Before that, I've been producing and putting up the Lion King Broadway productions around the world. Before that, I produced the opening and closing ceremonies of the FIFA World Cup in South Africa. And then I brought the Lion King to South Africa. So all of that has been an audition and a preparation for probably the biggest event of my life. It's quite scary. That is less than 3 weeks away. My first concert in history and in South Africa. So it's a little bit of mixed.
Why did it take you so long?
Emotions. Well, one, I knew what it would take to put together a Lebo M concert. It was not something that's going to be easy, because one has been involved in so many projects that are such extreme high quality. And I knew that there's going to be, whether I did it in New York or in London or in South Africa, it's just a lot more safer to do it at home.
Yes.
Because the expectations are going to be very high. And so because the expectations are going to be very high, even if they're not very high, we're very demanding of ourselves in terms of the type of quality project that we put on stage in front of people, which has also been central in my career. How I choose the projects I do are based on ultimately what is the quality that the audience is going to be exposed to. So I knew that it took us about 3.5 years to start focusing and developing the project after thinking about it for over 10 years. And it took us almost a year now to really, after my 60th birthday, and I think it became more real to me when we celebrated the 30th Lion King at the Hollywood Bowl, and I realized that I'm about to do this in South Africa.
Miss Lebo M, thank you so much for making time to sit here and chat to me. It's been fun.
It's been awesome. I
all
appreciate
the best.
You having me here.
Of course. All the best with everything.
Thank you.
Chihuahua.